Well, hello, Abby. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am good. I'm looking at myself and I'm like, okay, this is awesome.
No, I think it's very modern. I actually, when I got on with you, I was like, it looks like she has like this modern art in the background.
That's what we'll go with. It's
Do it, because I just have
modern
a pile.
art.
Yeah, I have a pile of laundry, and I think we could call that modern art also.
We can. We can. We certainly can. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm hanging in there. It's January. So February's coming, and February is usually a month of, well,
Yes.
February.
Yes. Oh, my friend used to call February the armpit of the year because it
Oh
was a
my
little bit
gosh.
scary and a little bit hairy. Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely. That is so funny. That's hilarious. I like it. So, yeah, so I'm anticipating February's right around the corner.
All right. So before we get
Yeah.
into our topic, and I have my tissue ready because I have a feeling I'm
Oh.
just not going to get through this one, but it's all good, moms. Hang out
Mm.
with us. If
Yeah.
you could just tell the moms, I'm sure everybody already knows who you are, but just in case, can you tell them who you are, a little bit about your family and about your homeschooling?
Yeah, I am Aby Rinella and I am wife of Jesse. We have been together since I was like 19. Mom of three kiddos, and it's really hard to say a senior. I'm getting ready to launch my first, a freshman and a sixth grader. So I'm not going to say I'm at the end. I'm not at the end, but
Mhm.
I'm at the back side, which is so hard to believe because I was just yesterday at the front side, I feel like. Um, I was born and raised into a home of public school teachers, and I became a public school teacher. And then I was pregnant with my first daughter, and it just was like a no, like it just, you just feel like I can't send this child away. And my husband said, well, God didn't give us this baby for someone else to raise so that you could then go raise 26 other people's kids, right?
Mhm.
So I've actually homeschooled from the very beginning. And like I said, I'm about ready to launch my first. So I was homeschooling before homeschooling was cool, I guess you could say. Same with you. Not a pioneer though. We do have a generation. I have a generation ahead of me that was really, truly the pioneers that
Me
I
too.
admire. So,
Mhm.
um, and my husband and I run, well, my whole family, we run a ministry that takes kids with disabilities or life limiting illness like cancer and such things on outdoor adventures. So we do that together in and amongst my full-time job of homeschool, his full-time job in the trades. Um, Other than that, we're kind of boring people, but I have a passion for Jesus. I have a passion for family, and just go where God calls.
I love looking at your pictures on Instagram, especially the ones where you're all in camouflage and you got your gun and you're out in nature. And I'm like, now that's somebody I want to be.
It's so funny because when I speak at conventions, people are like, do you have like a family picture or certain things? People are like, do you have a family picture? And I'm always scrolling through and I'm like, I don't think we have a family picture where we're not in camo with an animal that we've just harvested. So my daughter just got her senior pictures done for her announcements, and I'm like, can we just throw in a family picture in there so that people know that there's more to us than that?
And I love how you said harvesting animals. That's going to be great for my California friends.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. Don't worry.
Anyway, okay, so here's the deal, moms. I was just on the Schoolhouse Rock podcast a couple of weeks ago with Abby, and I so enjoyed the conversation. And we were talking about my new book, but and how to simplify homeschooling. But in that, we started talking about our season that we're in
Right.
right now of homeschooling and mothering and womanhood and all the things that go with
Hmm.
that. Um, and so I wanted to continue that conversation with you and to dig in a little bit or a lot more with that because I hate when moms call me old homeschooler. I'm a veteran or a seasoned homeschooler, right? And
Yes,
you've been
yes,
doing this forever as well, and you're still in the trenches.
yes.
So I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to kind of look back and kind of reflect on all the
Mhm.
lessons that we've learned.
Yeah, I love
But
it.
you just mentioned you were actually at the beginning of the end. You're about to
Oh,
graduate your very first one. And so let's start there. How are you feeling? Like,
oh my
what's going
goodness.
on in your mind as you approach graduation and launch day?
Carrie, you're the sweetest because like you've been here and I need to be asking you, how am I supposed to be feeling? Like in our last interview on the podcast that I co-host, I mean, it's moms like you I just want to sit at the feet of, and it is so good. You're not veteran because to me, veteran means I've been there, I've done that, and I'm out. And you're not. And I cannot thank you enough for sticking in there because just like the new moms need people like me to talk to them, those in my season need you anymore. It's a season that moms had kind of warned me about, like, hey, this is coming. And I'm not there yet. I am not there yet. I remember I called my friend Rachel Carmen and I'm not sure if you know Rachel, but I was
Hmm.
having like a meltdown because I'm like, I feel like I'm mourning. I feel like I'm grieving. And she was like, girlfriend, you are not even there yet. You do not grieve before you need to grieve because it is going to hurt like nothing's ever hurt before. So pull it together now and save those emotions for later. And it was so good. But okay, so here's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling all the feelings, Carrie. I'm feeling so it's like grief. It's like a feeling of loss, but a feeling of excitement. Like everything that I've done is lead was all along leading up to here, but now that we're here, it's like I want to do it all over again. It's
Hmm.
excitement for her because I remember that season of my life and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is where she goes and finds her people and finds her feet and like builds her own life. Like this is so exciting when I look at her. But then
Hmm.
I stop and look at me and it's like a literal part of me being torn away. And if we would have interviewed at Thanksgiving time, I would have just sat here and cried and been a mess because I was really struggling. Because, side note, this happens to happen, like you and I were talking about, while we're also going through
Hmm.
our own set of hormonal changes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, great timing, right? Like,
I
so
think it's part of
everything.
the curse, actually.
eh,
I think
Okay.
it's part of the curse. And when
Yes.
I used to teach in public school, I taught, junior high, middle school, and
Yeah.
junior hires. And the parents and the kids were just like this
Oh,
all the time. And at the
yep.
parent teacher conferences, I had to remind them, I'm like, look, you are going through your hormones,
Yep.
raging hormones at the same time your
Yes.
kid is going through these rate. And I do, it's like,
Yes.
it's this timing that
It
I really
is.
don't think God planned it that way. It was just more of
I
something that
agree.
like
I
came
agree.
with
I
the
don't,
curse, girl.
I think it was because I used to think that when they said the curse when I was in my 20s, I'm like, oh, it's childbirth. And so then I like, had three kids and I'm like, well, made it through the curse. Like I'm good now, right? And then I'm like now going, oh no, it's the whole process of being a woman. The entire process of being a woman is having to be on our knees, recalibrating with God every single day. And I think that that's where I found myself is and people warned me, they said, don't lose yourself in mothering because
Mhm.
mothering will end. And I hated that because I'm like, I never lost myself. Well, here's the thing. I gave everything to being a mom. I left my job. I left everything because it was my greatest call and my greatest passion. And I never lost myself in mothering. I found myself. I really believe
Oh, I love that.
that I found myself. And so many people are like, you're losing yourself because you're pouring everything into these kids. And I'm like, that's a lie from the pit of hell because what I'm doing is I'm walking in what God's called me to and I found myself. The thing is now though is these little humans that I've poured my life into are getting ready to go and answer the call that God's called them to do and live the life that God's called them to do and it's beautiful, but it has to be a recalibration for me to say okay, I have to figure out now what for me. And so many people are like, well, maybe you lost your purpose. And my purpose has never been, I mean, my purpose is who I am. God created me as a child of God. He gives me my purpose in every season of my life. It's now just saying I have to let them go and still be in the purpose that God's called me to. It's complicated, Carrie.
It really is. And that saying of now what? That
Yeah.
that is like one of my most quote unquote popular talks right now.
Oh,
Because moms want to hear it. There's so many
yeah,
of us in this
totally.
season that when I first started, and I would go to Park Day, and I had all these wonderful godly women pouring into me, they would give me that advice. Oh, honey,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. This time is gonna fly by. They're
Yeah.
gonna be okay. And I couldn't absorb that because
Right.
I had laundry, I had
Totally.
tantrums. I had groceries to get on the way home. Like
Yep.
none of that was really computing. And so we didn't really talk, and I didn't think to ask them,
Right.
what how should I be preparing for this? That now
Right.
what? They're gone. What do I do?
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a lot of moms that, like us, we poured everything into our calling. And
Right.
we are not bitter about it. We're
No
not
way.
sad about it. Like you said, I love what you said that you found yourself. You didn't
Right.
lose yourself. But there's this whole new season. And now all the things that
Yes.
we've learned and all the experiences we had, and in my case, all my epic fails, what am I now going to do with that
Yeah.
in this next season? And so it's
Right.
really hard. So I tell moms all the time, yes, pour yourself into your kids, but
Yep.
make sure you are, especially when they're in high school and it's one of your
Yeah.
last ones, to really start reigniting things in you. Like, what are your
Yes.
passions, or what are
Yep.
some things you can do once everyone is gone and the house is empty and your
Right.
main job of being a home educator is no longer there?
Right.
What are you going to do? Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's just real important. And so that's why I felt like with my youngest, I did an awful lot of things that he loved. And
Yeah.
it helped me kind of go, oh, I forgot how much I enjoyed this. Or I would have
Yeah.
never thought to do this, but this is a lot of
Totally.
fun. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that now what is very important. But I will tell you, the first one is so exciting, like you said.
Ah.
And then you've got a couple more behind.
Yep.
Right. So,
Yeah.
yes, that first, oh my gosh, that first September
Oh,
without your
oh my
oldest,
word.
it's going to be hard for all of you, even
Yeah.
your,
Well,
the
I
youngest ones.
yeah, and I have to tell you now. So, okay, so to go back a little, I would tell those young moms, don't worry about now what, be
Mhm,
all in because
mhm,
it's going to come. I mean, it's
mhm,
kind of like, do you remember when okay, I did the exact same thing and I see these really young moms with like 3 year olds. In fact, a mom called me the other day, 3 years old, and she wanted to sit down and she wanted to go through the curriculum of what curriculum do I need to use to teach this child to read. And I was like, hold up, like you're going to get there, but let's not get the cart before the horse. Like just
mhm,
enjoy the moment you're at because that's coming no matter what. But don't get ahead of yourself. Kind of like Rachel told me, don't get ahead of yourself. Enjoy these years. So it when you're in those young years, just be all in.
mhm,
Lose yourself, find yourself, just be all in, you guys. It is glorious and it is short and it is wild and it is crazy, but then it will come. And you do have to start
mhm,
figuring out, right? And that's
mhm,
where I'm at right now. You're a little ahead of me and you've kind of died, you're getting there, but I'm like I said in November I was a train wreck and now I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still Aby that God has called from when I had that first baby until now. I'm still the same person. God still has a calling for me. He still has a purpose for me.
mhm,
I just have to figure out I just wrote something and it was like it's like looking through binoculars and everything's fuzzy. You haven't focused them yet. Like you
mhm,
see the landscape, but you're trying to make out what's in it, right? And that's kind of where I'm at. But I know that the focus is going to come because the Lord's in it. And
mhm,
so it's an exciting time because it's like, oh, I could do this. I could do that. I
mhm,
could, it is actually strangely exciting for
mhm,
everybody to
mhm,
be at this point. So,
mhm.
sorry, I derailed. What was this last question that you asked
No,
about my
no, no, no.
feelings?
That was, but it was so true to be all in,
Yeah.
because I mean, I know they hear it from you, they're hearing it from everybody, but it is amazing how quick it
Oh,
goes.
I
I
can't
mean,
tell
I could
you.
look at pictures of my kids as little babies and I just start crying.
Yeah, it's
But
terrible.
it's happy tears, but it's kind of
Yep.
like, oh my gosh, I will
Yeah,
never
I
have
know.
that again. And I
I
wish I would
know.
have slowed down. And that's some of the things we're going to talk about,
Yes.
some of the
Yes. Okay.
do-overs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I will warn you, I'm no
Yeah.
Carmen. She's like top
Ah,
mentor. But I will warn you, the last one is the
okay.
hardest.
I know. I know. So just
Yeah.
can you put on your calendar now that I'll be calling and just crying because I know. Oh, I know what you were saying. So get ready for September. So this semester has been weird because technically my oldest has met all her requirements. So
Hmm.
she's working more. So
Hmm.
the other morning she's like, "Mom, I have to go to work early, so I'm not going to be there for like the what used to be when they were little circle time, right?
Hmm.
Like the circle time, but or morning basket or whatever you call it. But then
Hmm.
when they all get older, it's like table time where you do the
Right.
and so she left to go to work and I sat there with my younger two and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like
Hmm.
I can't talk about this without her here. Like we need her here. I don't want to read this without her here. And it dawned on me, I'm like, this, we're gonna have to do this. Like we're gonna have
Mhm.
to do stuff without
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be tough in September, but that it's that
her.
last one. And this is for the moms who are listening who might be on their last one and they've got their baby graduating or almost. The Yes, there's grief, but the
Yeah.
sense of loss is for a lot of things. So it's the
Yeah.
loss of, yes, my baby is now launched, right? But
Mm,
like you said, it's exciting. But there's
right.
the loss of your home educator role.
Yes. Right.
So that thing that you have poured so much into,
Yes.
that's now gone,
Right.
right? But then also, I hate to say this, but there's also a loss of community
Ah,
because a
yeah.
lot of for me and a lot of us who homeschool, we
Right.
homeschool with our friends, and then
Yes.
most of my kids friends, their parents were my friends,
Oh
and
my
so
goodness,
therefore
Carrie,
we
I
were
didn't even
all in the same age, right? And so whether their kids graduated a year after Joe or a year
right.
before Joe or the same year, whatever, you have to then also kind of sit and go,
Hmm.
wow, all these people I used to just weekly meet up with for
Right.
nature walks or Bible studies or whatever.
Right.
Wow, that's kind of gone too because everybody is
Right.
doing what God's calling them to do now in this next
Totally.
season. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
anyway,
Wow,
there's just a lot going on.
I didn't even think about that, but I do feel like the high school years have helped me. Well, I'm just learning this.
Hmm.
I'm literally learning this since November till now has been like the most transformational because I was like, I got to pull it together, right? Like I got to pull this together. Um, but I'm realizing that in high school, like, so I'm the mom that, like, when you have little kids, it is you are there. Did you wipe? Did you wash your hands? Did you brush your teeth? Did you dot your I's? Did you cross your T's? Did you put your plates away? Like, you're all in, and it's our job, and it's amazing. And I loved that season because every moment of my life was for them. And you didn't have moments that wasn't like that weren't for them. Like you couldn't go to the bathroom without fingers coming under the door. Like you didn't have a minute to breathe. And in that season, you're like, I would like just 5 minutes, right?
Hmm.
And you didn't have it. But then you get into high school, and what I'm learning is I'm still doing that. Did you brush your teeth? Did you wash your hands? Did you shut the door? And I'm realizing that my high schoolers, like, it's causing this because they're wanting that independence and they're needing that independence.
Hmm.
But I haven't pivoted and said, I need something to fill that time that, you have more time when they're in high school. You just do. And if you don't find something to fill that time that's productive, you make your kids crazy, right? You make your kids absolutely nuts because you're still treating them like toddlers. And then it causes friction. So I'm finally just in this last month going, I need to, and I don't want to say find myself because I don't like that
Right.
terminology. I never lost myself. I'm still who I am. I'm who God made me to be. But I'm just needing to recalibrate and
Hmm.
pivot and find what God has for me now so that I don't make my kids crazy because you've seen those moms, right? You've seen those meddling mother-in-laws. You've seen those moms who call their kids 53 times a day when they're in college, and it ruins relationships. And so I'm just learning, like, maybe I need to take up knitting or painting, or maybe I need to go and find, like you said, community that isn't just around their moms. Like maybe I need to find other women and be like, hey, before we send all our kids to the loony bin because we're like over controlling them or whatever, let's go do something else. So
Hmm.
it is a process. It isn't like just all of a sudden one day they fall off the face of the earth and go out. There is a season where you have to wrestle through this stuff a little. And I think if you do it well, the transition will be easier. And I could be wrong. I am literally externally processing this with your audience because I am in the trenches with them. I do not have this figured out at all. So you might call me in a year and I'm like, well, that didn't work.
You're funny. All right. So speaking of that hindsight, all right, because
Yes.
it sounds like,
Yes.
you're getting some good ones. Um,
Look at,
yeah, so, hindsight is 2020. So
yeah.
let's talk about the lessons that we've learned, along the
Yes.
way, because you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
You've been homeschooling 19 plus years.
Yeah.
But let's start with the best lessons first.
Oh,
All right.
love it.
So
Love it.
if you could homeschool all over again, and you and I both said, oh, if we could, we would,
Oh,
right?
, totally.
What would you definitely do again? Right? So
Oh,
what did
right.
you love so much or
Mm,
that went so well that
yeah.
you would just make sure that you did it again?
I would say the first thing is those mornings, just quiet snuggles. Like, do not start your day with get up, we're doing school. It has to start at 8:30, but it's when you wake up, sit on mama's lap and let's read a book. I mean, I would do that over. I have no regrets for snuggling, for sitting on the couch, for singing songs and reading books and just the time spent. And somebody said that to me when I was raising kids that had done the same thing that you and I did as homeschool all the way through. And she said, the one thing I'll have a lot of things that I'll be able to look back on and say, I wish I would have done differently. She said, but the one thing is I have no regrets on the time spent. I don't I would do all over again. Not, I did not outsource a lot. I did not do a ton of me time because my me time was them time and I loved it. It filled me up.
Mhm.
I would do all of that again. I would do all over again. I would make sure that we did all of the fun rabbit trails that we did. I
Mhm.
would do all the morning time. I tell you, if I look back over my whole homeschool journey, those times in the morning sitting on the floor singing songs, reading poetry. I mean, those were the most precious times, and they weren't a part of any curriculum and they didn't get any whatever grades for it, but those were the best times. The other thing is that I would do all over again is we just had a calendar that was like, when dad's home, we don't do school. So if dad gets off early, school's done. And we go outside, we go backpacking. Like, we did not follow a traditional calendar. Like, hunting season was in the backcountry. And so I would do that all over again. I have no regrets for that kind of homeschooling.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, everything that you said about like those moments, the cuddling moments and
Yes.
the read aloud times. Um, but for me, what came out of that, which it sounds like for you too, were just all of the conversations.
Yes.
So having the space and the
Yep.
time to
Yep.
have conversations, whether it was about what we were reading or whether
Yep.
it was a rabbit trail we were going down or it was
Yeah.
a song that we're singing, just that we things weren't so rigid
Hmm.
that we had the time and space that we
Yes.
could talk and have
Right. Yep.
conversations. And I feel like that's where really all the learning happened.
Totally.
That's where all of the relationship building was
Yes.
happening. That's where all the
Yes.
connections were happening. That's where, like with my daughter and my son, that's where all the inside jokes are.
Yes.
That, I mean,
Yes.
yes, my son is super happy being married, but there's no one that knows him and his childhood like Francesca.
Right.
There's
Totally.
nobody,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so there are just some things that he would
Yep.
say or Francesca would say that nobody else is going to get
Totally.
because they're the only two that lived in this house with
Yes.
these parents, with
Yep.
this home education that,
Yep.
so just the conversations, just having them in
Yeah.
the car. I would definitely do again because it was so worth it, was having those one-on-one. I called them dates with my kids. So, starting with middle school all the way through high school and once they were in college, was making time at least once a week to do something with each kid just one on one,
Oh, I love that.
right?
Yeah.
And with
Yeah.
my daughter, it was always, we went and got tea or coffee or we
Oh.
went book shopping. It was always something like that. Whereas my
Yeah.
son, it was errands. He just wanted to be with me and he
Oh, I
just wanted to
love
hang out.
that.
And so
Right.
if I was going on an errand, I'd say, anybody want to come? He was the first one. Yeah, mom, I'll come.
Oh,
But
I love
that's when
that.
he opened up the most, right?
Totally.
When we were in the
Yep.
car, or we were, listening to something on the radio, whatever.
Yep.
So just having those moments, but
Yes.
with that, also having those moments with friends. So
Yeah.
when everyone is graduated and gone,
Yes.
right? And having those moments with my husband. So that
Right.
when we're empty nesters, that
Yep.
it's not, oh, now I don't have anybody to talk to, and my husband and I don't have a relationship anymore.
Right.
No, I took the time, I tried to take the
Yes.
time, even when they were younger, to build and cultivate those friendships too,
Right. Yeah.
right?
And I think that's wise because I think like as my daughter's getting ready to launch and we're best friends, I don't want to put the pressure on her to feel like she always has to be mom's best
Right.
friend or like now I'm leaving mom and she's gonna fall apart type thing. Like I want her to see that, I'm good. I have friends, I have people because it takes the pressure off of them, like we were talking before, that they can't, I mean, even though they are our all in all, there comes a season where they don't need to feel that weight, So we've got to recalibrate. I love that.
All right. So those are all perfect, Mom. So make sure like you make time for those things. So now
Yes.
let's talk about
Oh gosh.
if we were to start homeschooling today, what would what would be your do-over? Or what would
Um,
you do that you would do differently?
yeah, I have a
Yeah.
few. One, I came into this as with a public school mindset because I was a public school teacher. So it
Mhm.
took me a solid 3 years to shake that. It took me 3 years to just and I think was it you that had said to me, somebody said to me, it takes it's Christy Clover. She said it takes everybody 3 years to get this thing figured
Pretty
out.
much.
So
Hmm.
you're okay. But I felt like I did school at home at the
Hmm.
beginning, and I would totally obviously not do that now that I've learned. The other thing I would do is I would not in those early years, because I was a public school teacher, I was like, first grade, we're going to learn the anatomy of a cell, and we're going to do full blown science in first grade. And I poured my heart into it. I mean, Carrie, I was up until midnight lesson planning and getting everything ready. And then we built the cell out of a jello mold. And I mean, we did full blown. And then I will never forget, like a year later, my kids were talking about something in that area. And I was waiting. I was like, they're going to talk about how all these lessons that mom has taught them is how they know this because they were talking to somebody else. And someone was like, wow, where did you learn that? And I was like, here's my moment. Like, this is my moment. And they're like, wildcrats. Why we learned that on wildcrats. And I was like, you just told them that you learned everything you need to know in a 30-minute episode of wildcrats, which is true. They picked it up there. And so if I were to do it over again, I probably wouldn't do like advanced level everything in first and second grade. I probably wouldn't dive into academics the way that I did then because news moms, I hate to break it to you, they're not going to remember that stuff in first grade. Like they still are like, I don't remember. They look at pictures of these incredible things we did and they're like, I don't remember that. And I'm like, well, I was up late at night stressed about it. So I would definitely those early years, just like you said, build relationships, make connection, read good books, play games. I mean, do academics, but chill out a little because the other thing I learned is when my daughter got to her senior year, I was looking through everything, credits and everything. And I'm like, oh, she's done. Like she's met all of her
Hmm.
credits. And so I wished I could have gone back and chilled out a little more in those years because I'm like, we have a whole year that I could have like filled in to slow things down, do more rabbit trails. And you are so good about that, but really just stop and have the conversations and do the rabbit trails rather than be like, it's day 160. We have to do less than 160. It took me a lot of years to figure that out. And I wish I could go back and fix that.
Yeah, but see, it's not just you, and it's not just the early years. I feel like all of us, we get to different seasons in our homeschooling. Like a lot of times we hit the middle school years and we're
Yeah,
like, oh, well, now we really got to buckle down because we got to get
totally.
ready for high school, right?
Right.
And then we stop going down the rabbit trails because we
Yes.
we give ourselves this pressure, right?
Yep.
And then once they get to high school, then we really start kicking in. We're like, oh my
Totally.
gosh, I only have 4 more years, I only have 3 more years, I only have 2 more years. We
Right.
really got to take this stuff seriously.
Totally.
And yeah, and so the moral of the story is you
Slow
really
down.
can, yeah, slow down and enjoy the time because it's so
Totally.
fleeting. But I think
Yeah.
for me, my biggest do-over, like I
Hmm.
wouldn't eliminate it, but my biggest
Okay.
do-over, and this is coming from someone who who created a co-op for over 300 families.
Oh my.
Okay, so like this was a big part of our life. I wouldn't do as many co-ops as we did. Like I
Oh,
would not have farmed out so
okay.
many things.
Okay.
So I wish I would have, and all that to say, co-ops are great.
Yeah.
And learning in community is fabulous, right? Um, but sometimes, at least for me, we did more than one co-op,
Oh,
or we had
wow.
more than one day out, or we
Right.
had co-op, but then I also farmed out art and I farmed out
Right.
music and I farmed out this and I farmed out that. And there were some seasons where my daughter would look at me and say, I thought we homeschooled. Like, we're
Right.
never
Oh,
home.
wow.
It's like, Mom,
Yeah.
we could do this at home, kind of a deal. So,
Yeah.
yes, I would still do
Yeah.
learning with friends, but I don't think it would be
As
the
much.
focus of our week.
Right.
It would
Okay.
be like it was at the beginning when we first
Right.
started homeschooling. It was our enrichment day. It was our,
Right.
we get to do this with our friends day instead of,
Okay.
no, we have to get all this stuff done because your co-op classes, you have to get this done and you need this done. And you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So yes,
It's
I
so
do love
funny that
learning in
makes me
community, but
it makes me feel so good because we don't have that where we live. And so I've always felt like, oh, we're missing out on doing all the things all the time. And so isn't it funny that every homeschool mom feels a little bit of that guilt of we're doing too much, we're not doing enough, we're doing something. So we all got to give ourselves grace.
we do, we do. That would be something I would do differently too. Give myself a
Give
whole lot more
myself some
grace.
grace.
Yep.
And don't stay up so late lesson planning. For goodness sake, go to bed.
Yes, sleep is important.
Yes.
Yes, that's why I'm addicted to caffeine because of all the
Yeah,
late night planning.
totally.
All right. So we talked about the what we would definitely do again, the do-overs. Is
Yeah.
there something in your homeschooling that you would just totally eliminate that you guys did, or maybe the way you thought about things, or maybe like what was the hardest lesson that you had to learn that God was
Oh,
like trying to teach you, but you just kept going
yeah.
forward in your homeschooling with?
I would say again back to that making school at home.
Hmm.
Just trying to and honestly comparing myself to every other homeschool mom, my kids to every other homeschool kid. I mean, there is no good that comes from that. It'll destroy and derail your homeschool so fast. The other thing is trying to make it perfect. Like I really wanted it to be in those early years, I figured out pretty quickly you couldn't. But just the pressure on me, it really wasn't anything about the homeschool or the kids. It was all me. Like I was trying to make it something that it never. And I finally had a friend that said to me again, and this is within those first 3 years.
Hmm.
She said, if you're gonna just do school at home, you might as well just ship your kids to school and go get a cup of coffee, right? Like
Hmm.
are you homeschooling or not? And so it was really a good wake up call. So I'd completely eliminate that. I'd eliminate the comparison trap. Um, and honestly, Carrie, I'd probably would have eliminated. I think the greatest thing that I could have done differently is eliminate social media during my homeschool journey. I think that it was like, oh, there's this curriculum. Oh, I should be doing this. Oh, it should look like this. Oh, I need to be doing this. And it just probably pulled me too far out of where did God want us.
You pretty much said everything I had listed that I wanted to say, not doing the school at home
Yeah.
so early on, and the comparison, like you said,
Mm,
it not only ruins your homeschooling, it can ruin your relationships,
yeah,
putting
it
the
can.
pressure on
Yeah.
ourselves. Like my husband would ask me all the time, why do you keep saying you're behind? Like,
Yeah.
who's
Who?
coming up with the lesson plans? And I'm like, me. And he's
Totally.
like, then
Who you
do something
behind?
different. Yes. He's like,
Yeah.
who are you behind?
Right.
Um,
Totally.
so since you said all of that, which is like so true, I would definitely eliminate. I think the one thing I would add is that I would eliminate me getting in their way so much. Like I
Oh,
would
girl.
get out of their way a whole lot sooner because the Lord created all of us to learn and
Oh,
to be
conviction. You are
sponges,
convicting me.
right? And I was the one that was in their way. I just wish I
Yeah.
would have gotten out of their way a whole lot sooner. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're already super smart and know a lot, but they probably
Yeah.
would, I don't
Like,
know the amount of
tell
things they
me,
would have known.
I know you're the interviewer, but I'm gonna flip the mic because
Put
tell
on
me
your
like,
schoolhouse rock
yeah,
hat. Yes.
totally. Tell me in like in what way would you have gotten out of the way? Like in directing classes they took, help me get out of the way.
Two ways. Two ways for
Okay.
me personally was
Okay.
one, I say this all the time, that pile of when we have time, we'll get to it pile.
Okay.
That would have been the important pile. If I
Ooh,
could do it all over again and get out
yeah.
of their way, the things that they come to me and say, oh, did
Okay.
you see that bird? Or can we learn about this? Or can we? I would not have said, no, we can't do that right now,
Right.
but maybe next semester or maybe next year, or let me find a curriculum
Um,
for it instead of just, yeah,
yes.
let's go. Let's go do
Okay.
that.
Yes.
So definitely get out of their way in that sense that
That
when
that
they
is
are
if there is a clip from this whole that's it. That is the best advice I think that
yeah,
I've
that
heard.
that would be a good one. And then the other one is once they get older,
Hmm.
is instead of me planning everything, sitting when I sat down with them and said, "What do you want to learn this year?" And then
Right.
when they got to high school, "What are your goals post graduation? Let me help you learn those things. Let me help you
Right.
meet those goals." So
Yeah.
instead of me planning everything, literally getting out of their way and letting
Yep.
them chart their own course, and
Right.
I'm helping them along the
Totally
way.
facilitate it. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
good. I think
Yeah.
that's so good. And what's hard though is sometimes they don't know. They don't know their
Uh-huh.
goals. They don't know what they want to do.
Uh-huh.
My daughter did not know what she wanted to do until literally like 5 months ago. And now she is all in. She can't get enough of going after it. But it's tuning in, it's being a student of our kids to
Yep.
figure those things out. And this is probably not great advice, but this is, I'm gonna there are a lot of things that the kids are like, why do I need to learn that? And so much of me is like, well, I have a high school degree. I have a college degree. I was a teacher. So I have a degree in teaching you. And if I don't know it, maybe I think it's okay with some of those things to be like, it might be okay that you don't learn this. I think the most important thing is that you know how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because there's going to be a day that you're going to need to learn it. And so, and if you need to learn it, you can learn it. I mean, you and I, without aging us, we didn't have all these smartphones, and we didn't have, honestly, computers. I mean, I'll really put myself there back in when I was in school. And it was like, but I learned how. I can do it now. Look at us. We're podcasting. And so, as long as
Mm-hmm.
we teach our kids how to learn,
Yep.
I think that's more important than teaching them what to learn.
Yep. I 120%
Yeah.
agree
I'll
with
get
that.
strung up.
With that. Yep.
I'm saying maybe kids don't have to have
Right.
calculus unless they're going into that field.
Right.
Come after
And
me.
if they're the kid who doesn't even know what they want to do, that's
Yeah.
okay. If you
Yes.
don't squash their curiosity and their love
Yes.
of learning, then once they get out in the world and they realize, oh, if I want to do that, I do need to take a calculus course or I do need
Yeah.
to learn, discrete mathematics, but they
Yep.
know how to learn it and they have
Yep.
the desire to
Yes.
learn
Amen.
it. So
Amen.
anyway, okay, I can't believe we're almost like out of time
Ah.
here, but let's do this. I know this might be a little hard, but if you could describe the season of home education or motherhood that you're in right now, what
Mm.
word would it be?
Change.
Hmm.
I hate that word. I hate that word. And also this should be all along, but kind of release, I think.
Oh, it's
Release.
mine.
Yeah. Is it? Girl,
That's
you
my
and I, we
word.
have all the same answers. People better tune in because when you get here, but it really is release. It's the physical release of letting them go. It's releasing myself, into the Lord's hands as to what is my next season, and I'm not there yet. Again, I still have a freshman. I still actually even have a middle schooler. So I've got years, but this is a season of release. Like I said, they don't just walk out the door one day. It is a
Mhm.
season of the slow release. And you said it like being able to let them, what did you say? Like taking less control and letting them
Mhm.
kind of lead the
Uh-huh.
ship a little more. So
Yep.
that's the word, release and surrender. But trusting that God
Yep.
has it all.
Yep. That is so funny. Release was the word that
Ah,
kept coming to mind, but all the reasons you said, the releasing of them, releasing of
yeah.
where we are, but also uh this season of motherhood for me right now in particular is also a season of releasing for me my
Mhm.
my disappointments, my past failures,
Oh,
my past, just those things as well of
right.
giving myself grace
Yeah.
for the things that it's done. It's
Right.
done. I can't go back and change
Right.
those things or do things differently, but what I can do now is walk
Yeah.
forward in whatever path that the Lord has given. So release in a
Totally.
lot of
Yeah.
positive and
Totally. Yeah, it's not a
yeah.
negative thing. In fact,
Hmm.
we're really
Hmm.
called to release all along the whole
Yeah.
way. And maybe if we
Hmm.
would have released a little bit when they were younger, a little more,
Yeah.
it might not be so hard right now.
So true. Funny story, real quick. So funny. Dropping my daughter off at college,
Uh-huh.
and she was, away to college, and so we were dropping her off, right? And
Mm.
we dropped her off. Everything was great. I hugged, the whole thing. We helped her with her move
Oh,
in. We got in the car. We drove off the campus, and I just started bawling. And my
oh,
son Joe, he always tries to, find the
yeah.
humor and stuff or whatever, but
Oh,
he was like, "Mom, you're going to talk to her. Like, why are you crying so much?" And I'm like, "Look, dude, I never had my kindergarten moment. Like, I never brought her to kindergarten,
it's
dropped
so
her off, and left. This is my kindergarten moment."
That is hilarious.
So I was like,
That's
let
so
me have my
true.
kindergarten moment 18 years later.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. But praise God that when you did drop her off, she was ready. She was
Yeah.
prepared. She was well
Yeah.
loved. She had a foundation, right? Can
Yeah.
you imagine
Yeah.
doing that in kindergarten?
I know.
Um,
See? Yep.
it
Bringing
just,
it
so
right back.
again, no regrets. You know what's cool is when not cool, but same story when my mom dropped me off at college, my mom and dad, I sat on the sidewalk to watch them drive away and I sobbed and my mom sobbed and my dad finally, like, I feel like it's probably a little dramatized in my mind, but I feel like he picked her up and shoved her in the car and had to lock the door because like we were not going to leave each other. And I look back at that and I'm like, how blessed am I that I have that relationship with my mom? How blessed am I that I wasn't like, see ya, can't wait to never see you again. Like these feelings that we're having are good.
Yeah.
Like, praise God that we're mourning them leaving because that shows that we have that incredible relationship. So it's not bad.
Right.
It's just hard. It's natural. It's at the end of the day, Carrie, this is what we did all that work for. The whole
Precisely.
point was to launch them into the world so God could use them to the best of their, abilities. And so here we are, you and
Yep.
me.
Yep. And my husband reminds me all the time, when I'm kind of having like a mom moment as an empty nester, and he's like, look, we did our job so well that they don't need us. So
It's true.
let's be happy about that and blessed about that and be here for them
Yes.
in the happy moments, the sad moments, the when they do need us for something. But we
Yeah,
did such a good job with the help of the Lord, or with the Lord did
totally.
it and we just came
Yeah.
alongside, that they don't need us. Like,
Right.
they're
Right.
successfully launched. So stop crying
Yeah.
and let's go do something fun. Anyway,
Yes. See, that's awesome. Invest in your marriage. There's your takeaway,
yes,
younger moms.
yes.
Invest in your marriage
Invest
because
in your
at
marriage.
the end of the day, those kids are going to leave and you
Yep,
guys just have each other. So pour into your marriage. That's God's
yep,
design.
yep,
It
yep.
it it really is. And let the kids, this is what my husband keeps telling me. We have to let them fail and
Hmm.
we have to watch them struggle because that's when they get to the Lord, not us. And he always says, Abby, if all they ever do is hear your voice, they're not going to be able to tune into the Holy Spirit's voice. And
Ooh,
I think that's a super sweet way of him trying to tell me to zip
shut
my
up.
zipper, right? Shut up. But it's true. Like
It's
these are
true. I
things.
love that. Yes. If they always hear our voice, there's no room to hear God's. That is, for
Yeah.
me, that's the takeaway. So thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
yes.
All right. So we ran out of time. So can you please tell the moms all about your ministry and where they can find you and connect with you?
Yes, we do a lot of things. We have our hands in a lot of things. Everything is over at calledtothetop.com. You can just put my name in any social media, and often you'll find two things. One is my homeschool specific speaker stuff, and the other is all of our outdoor. Like, so if you're not into looking at the harvesting of our outdoor adventures of the wild and crazy things we do, and you just want homeschool, go there. They're going to merge. So you're going to get 100% of all of me, but calledtothetop.com, Aby Rinella everywhere else. Most often, I always say, if you want to find me, it's scrubbing toilets, reading books, and cleaning my house. That's where you're really going to find me. But we also, like I said, we run a ministry where we take families impacted by disability or life limiting illness, cancer, and the such on outdoor adventures. We would love the greatest ask for us is if you know a family or a kiddo that would be blessed by something like that. We just work on word of mouth and God's church bringing us the right families so that we can do all of the legwork and all this stuff. So if you know a family that would be blessed, please reach out to us because we would love to bless that family. So that's where we're at.
I love that. Thank you so much. And I know you did enjoy listening to Abby's voice, you can also hear her on the Schoolhouse Rocked
Yes.
podcast. She's one of the co-hosts there. So thank you so much. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation and I can't wait to have another one.
Thanks, Carrie.